Hey there, Tiff here. Worrying about how you're going to actually play in your sport today. You want to play really well, but you don't know if you'll be able to do it. Well, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at some strategies in how that you can actually play better in your sport, perform better in your sport, so that you really know what you need to be focusing on, so you can reduce that feeling of those butterflies in the stomach and reduce that feeling of those nerves and that worry about actually how you're going to play. So don't go anywhere. I'll be with you very shortly. Hey there, Tiff here. Welcome to Ambition Habits. So lovely to have you here. You probably are wanting to know why you worry so much about why you want to play so well. Well, the first thing that you worry so much is because you actually care. Like, you've taken up this sport, you've been playing this sport for however long you've been playing it, and you do want to perform well and you'd like to be improving. And so there's frustration that you are not improving, or you may feel like that you've plateaued, or you may feel like that you're going a little bit backwards, or you just really don't know what to do into moving forward so that you can actually play so much better. So what we're going to be looking at here today is what actually happens for you when you start to really worry about how you're going to play. And what we're then going to be doing is then we're going to put some action steps in place for you so that you can deal with the worry so much better. So you can, turn that nervousness more into motivation and get you focused on what you actually need to be doing. So let's look at what happens with you when you are really starting to worry, or you get really nervous about when you're playing. So number one is you overthink and you overanalyze how you'll actually play. So you're really worried about what's actually going to be happening. So you may overthink your technique, you may overthink how you've got to play, and so on. Number two is you'll find it very difficult to focus. And the reason for that is because, again, you're more focused on the fear of failing, the fear of worrying about failing, and that's why you can't focus. The third thing is you worry about how badly you'll play, yet you haven't even started yet. So you're already setting yourself up for failure because you're already preempting that you're going to play bad because you're so nervous about how you're going to play. Number four, you're worrying about disappointing yourself, or you're worrying about letting other people down. And number five, you're already talking to yourself negatively. So your self-talk is not good. You keep telling yourself that you play awful, you're not good enough, you're not consistent, you're not anything that's ever good enough. And what's the point of that you even showed up today type feeling. And that's what actually starts happening, is that you actually start looking at why you're not going to play well and you haven't even started yet. And you've already set yourself up. I've already listed these 5 things. You overthink too much. You find it difficult to focus. You're worried about how badly you'll play. You worry about disappointing yourself or others, or you're already talking negatively to yourself and you haven't even played yet, right? So how are you going to play well if you've set yourself up that way? And I can give you an example of that. Is like, I teach a lot of women that play golf. And what happens with them, and it doesn't matter whether they come and have a lesson with me or I run golf tours as well, what happens is they always tell me they're inconsistent, they play poorly, and therefore then they never expect themselves to play well. So they keep telling me how inconsistent they are in everything that they do. Yet I see them out on the course or they have a lesson with me and actually they're all right. They're not as bad as they think they are. They just need a little bit of a tweak. But in their mind, like, I always hit the ball bad off the tee, for example, or always my second shot is always bad, or I can't putt, or, or I can't play this particular hole because I always play this bad. And the thing is they're already talking about what's going on for them, for their game, and they haven't even stepped out on the golf course yet. So you can see that like if you're already talking about how bad you are, how are you going to play good when you step out there? It's a bit of a, like a mismatch, isn't it? That doesn't connect at all. So what we need to make sure that we're doing is that we want to change that focus, because when you worry about how you're going to perform, then your focus is then about the worrying about performing badly. And then because you're worrying about performing badly and you're so worried about how you're feeling because you're so nervous, then you can't play well, because where's your focus been? Your focus has actually been on performing poorly, okay? Not doing actually what you're would like to do, not performing the way that you would like to perform. You are worried about the result rather than what you actually need to be focusing on. Sounds a bit like life, doesn't it? It sounds like, oh, geez, you start worrying about things and worrying about what, the fear of what might happen. And you're so focused on the fear of what might happen, then you actually can't focus on what you need to do in the moment and what you need to be working towards to change that, because you're too worried about what might happen even before you've done anything. So there's a lot of great analogies in sport and life, because I find like how you are in, one thing, for example, your sport, you tend to apply the same methodology around what you do in life as well. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at some action steps on what you can do to start turning these nerves into more motivational steps, so that you're focusing on what you need to be doing and preparing for, rather than worrying about how you're actually going to perform in your sport. So action step number 1 is to utilize positive self-talk. So what does that mean? Well, that actually means talking to yourself better, right? I can play sport. I can play my sport. I am good at what I do. I am getting better every single day I step onto the court. I am such a great tee shot player. I have a fantastic serve. Whatever that self-talk needs to be, I believe in me, right? You want to be starting to set yourself up with positive self-talk. Now, I have done an episode on positive self-affirmations around sport. So if you haven't heard that, it's a few episodes ago now. And there's actually a episode where all I'm doing is, that you can listen to each day, is all I'm doing is I'm reading out some sports affirmations for you that you can listen to with some lovely background music. It only takes a few minutes. But what you want to be doing is you want to be utilizing positive self-talk, right? So you want to be talking yourself into performing better in your sport. I don't want you to be thinking that you've got to get a particular score, but I want you to be talking yourself on how, like, you can perform better in your skill. Like, I've got a better serve, or my serve is getting better every time I hit the ball, or I am increasing my consistency in my second shot out on the fairway, whatever it is, right? So you want to make sure that you're using positive self-talk. Number 2, the second thing what we want to do is we actually want to set a process goal of what you want to focus on. So really what that is I find, like, with process goals, it's something around, like, you could track something. And again, I'm going to go back to the golf, because obviously I teach a lot of golf, but a great thing in golf, for example, if you wanted to improve your tee shots, well, why don't you start tracking whether your tee shot finishes on the fairway or not on each hole, right? So you go out there and you play your 18 holes, and you might find that there's 14 par 4s and 5s. We'll disregard the par 3s. The par 3 is about you hitting on the green, but we could talk about the fairway. And you have to hit your ball on the fairway. So if you get it on the fairway, you give it a tick. If you don't get it on the fairway, you give it a cross, right? Again, you're just tracking it and you're getting some feedback. You could do that with your serves, in the sense of, Every serve that you focus on, you're just going to hit down the center line for that particular match, for example. You're just going to focus on center line serves no matter what. And that will give you an indication of how you're performing, or you're going to serve to that person's backhand on every serve, right? So you want to set something up where you've got something in place where you can just focus on tracking something that's going to help you focus better on what you need to be doing, like the skill at hand, versus worrying about how you're actually going to perform when you're playing. Now, the third thing, action step number 3, is what we want to do is we want to create a pre-game routine. So a pre-game routine is things that you can do to prepare for your game in leading up to you actually playing your game. So some things that you could be thinking about is breathing exercises, like I was talking about that in a previous episode, about doing some breathing exercises. That'll be a really good one. Preparing your food, what kind of food you're going to take with you, what kind of clothing you're going to wear, what drinks you're going to take with you. Do you need specific drinks that you take? Do you need some water? Do you need some hydration, some electrolytes? What type of food do you actually need to be taking? Do you need to take protein bars, protein shakes, stuff to nibble on throughout your matches? What you're actually going to do prior to playing, what your warm-up routine is like, right? So what you're actually starting to do is, rather than focusing on, oh, gee, I'm just going to play bad today, what you're starting to do is you're starting to put some action steps in place that help you preset yourself for better success, so that you're taking control of the nerves and turning those nerves into motivation, so you can go beyond those butterflies, right? Beyond the nerves. We want to get beyond that, right? We don't want that to be the thing that makes and breaks us. So as a reminder, the action steps for you to deal with this nervousness, to deal with this worry, great strategies that you can use before you're starting a game is, number 1, utilize positive self-talk. Number 2, set a process goal. So it's something that you really want to focus on. And number 3, create a pre-game routine. And why do you think those action steps are so important? Because what it is doing is it's resetting your focus, and it's actually giving you that control. You're actually taking over control of what you're going to be doing, versus reacting in that fear. Okay, so we want to take control of what we need to do in moving forward. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Love it if you could leave a comment down below wherever you heard this episode. I'd love to hear that feedback from you. And before you go, do you want to boost your confidence and start playing smarter in your sport with confidence? You want to perform better with consistency? Then get your 3 steps to self-confidence with the HAS formula. So you want to harness your strengths and build resilience. You want to activate positive self-talk and mindset. And you want to sustain confidence throughout improving your mental and physical skills throughout your performance when you're playing. So if you'd like a copy of the 3 steps to self-confidence, make sure you go to my website, tiffany-micah.com. Love to see you there. And for right now, I want you to dream big, believe in you, go after dreams. Take care. Talk soon. Bye for now.